What other customers do they work with? And I think that's the value that we can deliver. And I think, the trend that we're seeing right now is that, especially these larger organizations, they have explicit goals of reducing China dependency. Like like they say in
Right.
3 years' time, we need to reduce our China dependency from like 60% to like 30% or some goal like that, right?
Welcome to Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. Ricky Ho is in the house. Ricky, no one
Hey,
knows Ricky.
Richard.
Yeah, no one knows Ricky better than Ricky. Give us some backstory, man. Bring us up to speed and we'll get in the conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
You bet.
Yeah, so my name is Ricky. I'm the founder of actually a tech startup in SF. So our company mainly helps retailers, brands, importers use AI to find manufacturers globally. And as everyone knows, after the Trump tariffs, every importer, every retailer in the United States is scrambling to say, okay, should I find new suppliers for my existing one in China, right? So our software, you can think about it as it's like a search engine to help you find alternative suppliers outside of China. So we have over 2 million suppliers in our database that we enrich data from all these different sources. So we get data directly from US Customs. We get data from all these trade shows, and then we crawl all of the publicly available information to basically surface you the most relevant suppliers for whatever you're trying to look for, whether it's you're trying to find clothing or you're trying to find some sort of automotive part. It doesn't matter. Our system basically captures all of that data. And then myself, I studied industrial engineering at UC Berkeley for my undergrad. This is my second company. My first company I started around 6 years ago, which is also in the supply chain space. So the company was called Tree Lab. We raised over $22 million from, investors like Sequoia, GGV, Tencent. And with that company, we basically helped retailers better create supplier visibility. So we basically helped them collaborate with their vendors using our system. I did that for 4.5 years, and I sold the company to a large private equity a year and a half ago. And then after, I started Source Ready. So still kind of building a company, and we're still in the early stages, but yeah, really excited to share kind of what we're working on.
No, this is awesome because we're pretty aligned here. I'm focused solely on the manufacturing space too, something completely different than what you're doing. But I think I don't. Let me ask you: was this a coincidental timing with the tariffs that we were going before that? Then it kind of kicked in because that's pretty recent too. You didn't create
So
this
I think
because of.
so we were lucky. We were lucky. I think the tariffs created urgency for
Mm-hmm.
the problem we're trying to solve. But I think even without the tariffs, I think we see a trend of supplier diversification because
Mm-hmm.
China used to be kind of just like where everyone went for everything,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you can see after COVID, COVID showed everyone how fragile the supply chains are, right? Like when China
Mm-hmm.
went down, literally, like the shelves would go empty, right? And you would
Right.
have either overstock or understock of goods.
Right.
So I think that was the first thing, and then the second thing is like even finding Chinese suppliers. There are really good suppliers in China and there are really bad ones. Most people don't know how to like tell who's good, who's bad. So
Right.
if you go to like these traditional directories like Alibaba, these are like where a lot of people go today to find suppliers. Or even if you go to a trade show to meet a factory or a supplier, if you're not like a very experienced supply chain or sourcing person, it's actually very hard to tell at a surface level who is legit and who is not. And this is why I think there's so much opportunity now with AI to help, these people better vet suppliers with data, right? Figure out, okay, who are these suppliers exporting to? Do they have the relevant certifications? If I were to import the product, what's the tariff I would be paying? And I think these are all things that AI could really help enhance. And that was our initial thesis. And I think tariffs we're just lucky. We're just like, we
Right.
built the product and Trump went crazy and everyone started saying, okay, I need to find suppliers in Mexico. I need to find suppliers somewhere else from where I'm currently sourcing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I kind of was the same thing about a year ago. Well, you see a need. This is the entrepreneur in us, right?
Exactly.
We're problem solvers, and then some of us can see big problems and aren't scared. Like, let's go solve some big problems because the big problem solving is big money, right? There's big rewards. So I'm always about forget the small problems. Let's get some big problems. Let's do big things. All the time. So I love that you were kind of already on that trajectory, and this was just a catalyst to move you forward even faster. What's been kind of your, I'm going to air quote, growth rate, like your interest and stuff? Are you seeing the kind of hockey stick thing right now, or what
Yeah.
does that look like for you?
So we have over 20,000 users using our
Wow.
platform. We work with some of the largest retailers in the United States. So I'm not going to name their names, but they're
Sure.
they're very, very large retailers, and their sourcing teams are leveraging our software and our data to help them find manufacturers. Like I was just talking to a retailer, they're trying to find suppliers in Egypt for one of their clothing lines. And like, these suppliers don't have websites. Like you can't Google the factories. And this is where our value comes because we get data from so many different sources. Like in our software, you're able to directly search up, okay, what suppliers in Egypt can supply this specific product? What's their contact info? What's their background? How long have they been in business? Do they have any risk? What other customers do they work with? And I think that's the value that we can deliver. And I think the trend that we're seeing right now is that especially these larger organizations, they have explicit goals of reducing China dependency. Like like they say in
Right.
3 years' time, we need to reduce our China dependency from like 60% to like 30% or some goal like that, right?
Right.
And and I think it's a lot of work for them, right? Like, imagine like they've been working with the same supplier for like 15 years, and
Yeah.
suddenly they're like, okay, now I gotta find something somewhere else at the same quality and price or even lower than China. How would I do that, right? And I think this is where hopefully, our tool and AI can help a lot of these teams make that job easier.
Yeah, I think that's the key. When you talk about the web and websites, it's
Yeah.
like there's all this stuff out there, but it's really not useful. And when
Hmm.
you get down to
Exactly.
what's the actual need here? And yeah, because
Exactly.
I'll get on there and I'm no search expert by any stretch of the imagination, but like sometimes I need details. I'm looking at things and I kind of have other people do it. Because I'm like, I'm just not getting what I need. And you're not going to get
Yes.
it from Apollo.io. And you're going to,
Yeah.
those are going to be, maybe they're good, maybe they're not. They're relevant, they're not relevant. You got to do all this stuff. So I've seen kind of the same thing where there's a difficulty, the time wasted in
Yes.
the
Finding
search.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
brutal. I mean, it takes everything to a crawl. What I mean?
Exactly.
And like you can't in this when
And
you're
and and the word.
established, right? I have to say real quick, when you're established with a supplier, like you said, for 15 years, and that dries up, okay,
Yeah.
you're talking. I mean, you need yesterday. Okay, you
Yes.
need to go because there's no inventory sitting on the shelf per se, right? There's limited, like you said, all of a sudden things are empty because it was almost like a same day thing. But or you're shipping containers, you're doing all this kind of stuff, bringing it over, and that stops, and you got nowhere to go.
Exactly. So I think, as you mentioned, the search problem. I think with suppliers, it's even more complex than like trying to find a customer or lead because vetting a supplier is very complex. Like, for example, you want to look into the financial history of the supplier. Are they going to still be in business 2 years from now? You want to look at things like sanctions. Is the supplier sanctioned? And that
Mm.
and this seems like it's not very common, but you can actually get fined a lot of money. So I'll give an example. Like the U.S. government has a sanction list on. I don't know if you know about the Uyghur, the forced labor in China
Mm-hmm.
of the
Yep.
minorities, the
Yep.
Uyghurs. Most of the world's cotton is made in that region. It's called Xinjiang cotton, and the U.S. put all of these companies in Xinjiang on the entity list for like forced labor. If you source a T-shirt that used cotton from Xinjiang, you can get fined upwards of, first of all, your whole product gets seized, and you can
Mm.
get fined up to 150% of the value of your goods. And you as a buyer, even you can tell the customs agency and say, hey, I never knew this supplier bought material from some sanction. But the customs, they don't care. It's not a matter of like whether you knew or not.
Yeah.
They only care
Well,
about the result.
yeah, it's
And
ignorance of the law is no excuse.
exactly. But
It's
it's hard to screen for this because
yeah.
if you think about it, like a lot of these suppliers, so if you think about supply chain, there's the final assembly supplier, the one that actually makes the final product, but you also have all these raw material suppliers
Mhm.
downstream, right? So even though the direct supplier you're working with might not be sanctioned or might not be at risk, but if they're buying materials from sanctioned entities, the final product is going to contain sanctioned, components. And you, in the end, you know how customs does it? They actually can do DNA testing. Like when this
Wow.
T-shirt arrives, they can take a sample of it and they can figure out that this cotton was grown in this forced labor, area, and they can fine you for that. So that I'm just giving it an
That's
anecdote,
yeah.
but
Yeah, that's no,
but
that's really, really interesting. And man, like and your software is able to categorize all that, right? So people know
yes.
exactly
So
who they're
we
dealing with.
integrate with sanction lists. So we will screen the supplier on a 360-degree perspective. We'll check who are their suppliers. Are their suppliers on any entity list? We integrate with financial data to see, okay, is the supplier, do they have any financial risk? Do they have any like, bankruptcies going on? Do they have any credit risk? And then on top of that, we also have customs data. So we can look at their shipment history. So we can see, okay, how much export does the supplier do? What customers do they export to? And this is all data that traditionally is not publicly available. You can't Google this data. So we get data directly from customs agencies. Um, and that's just like kind of the proprietary part of our
Right.
business, is like you're actually able to look into data that you otherwise wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah, dude, that's the game changer for what you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a product really. Do you know what
Yes.
I mean?
And
Like
it,
it's just
yeah. And,
right.
and,
It's
and,
kind of the
and
reality, right? I mean, that's your secret sauce,
yeah, the
you
data
know?
piece. And I
Yeah.
think it's interesting that like it's actually kind of creepy if you think about it, that you can find out where someone else, who are they sourcing from, and like you can literally see that on October 15th, they just imported $10,000 worth of t-shirts from some supplier in India. You could
Yeah.
see what value they imported it for. Who is the supplier? What ship it was on? What port did it depart from? What port did it arrive at? Like this is pretty creepy, but like
Well,
this is data that you can get.
there is no more privacy.
Yeah,
Okay,
there. I
that's the
guess there
thing
is.
of the past. Okay, I mean, it used to be you walk down the street, in a day you'd have at least 7 pictures of yourself taken, and I don't mean by a selfie. I mean like external camera somewhere. Now it's probably 70. Okay, like
Exactly.
so like it's just wild. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But again, be able to access this data and then culminate it all into a system that assists these business is pretty amazing. Like I don't know. So let's jump back in the concept stage of your business, of this
Hmm.
business. Okay, like was it? I just trying to, and then we stay high view. We don't need to get down the weeds on it, but like give me like the first thing, like was the problem existing when you first started, like you saw this, or was it like, it would be cool if people could do this, or were you already dialed into the needs? Were you hearing the feedback from companies?
No,
Like,
I hear the feedback so often. Like literally, because I've been in supply chain for a long time, and the most common request that I get is like, dude, Ricky, do you know any suppliers in the US that can manufacture this? Or like, Ricky, do you know any suppliers in India that can make this? Like, it's very common. I'm sure you have probably friends that have
right.
asked, like, hey, do you know
Mm-hmm.
any manufacturers in Ohio that can
Right.
make this CNC precision part? And the reason why this is very common is that finding suppliers is as you mentioned, it's a hard problem because a lot of suppliers are not there's not much publicly available information about a lot of these suppliers. Even the US, I'll tell you,
Right.
domestically, finding a good US supplier is difficult for many categories because many of these factories don't even have a website. Even if they do, it's like a bare bones website with like very
Right.
little information. So like how would I find them? Like how do I find this random factory in Ohio that makes some obscure part? But maybe this factory is the exact one that I need for my current thing that I'm trying to source. And US is relatively already good. Imagine you want to find a supplier in like Argentina or
Right.
like Chile. these countries, like, dude, these suppliers are not going to have websites. Like, how are you going to find them? So I think the problem statement is very obvious. The challenge is, how can you even create something like this?
Right.
Where do you get the data? Like, if the supplier doesn't even have a website, how do you know that they even exist, and how do you know their background? So really, the start of this business is like the epiphany that there's actually a lot of data that you can access and acquire that is not publicly available, that is very valuable. So as I mentioned, getting customs data, getting data from all these different governments, from trade shows, from certification agencies, from financial institutions that publish credit records. So like a regular person, you would not have access to this data. But if we can get this data, aggregate it, and then make the data accessible to the regular person, then I can help you find that obscure supplier in Argentina that make this specific product that you otherwise would never be able to find. And I think that's the value.
You know what? One thing I think of with all this is like you got to ask one question, like, well, how do they actually stay in business if no one can get in touch with them?
Relationships,
yeah, it's all
relationships.
not exactly. It's all
It's
knocking on doors.
it's all,
People
I
know
know
so and
you, you
so.
know
Yep.
him. He's like make an intro, and
And
then trade shows too. There's still trade shows, right? People go
right.
to like physical events.
Yeah. And here's the thing about that. It's funny because as of late, I've been having conversations regarding relationships and automation. So I'm like, the automation pendulum is swung really far to one side. And I
Yeah,
think it's kind of, I'm not saying it's tapped out, but people are getting so far away from relationships
yeah,
and speaking to people, like they're losing work
yeah.
because of it. They're just deleting emails because you can tell it's a chat one, it's this. LinkedIn, everything is all, my podcast is a great
Automated.
example. They're talking about this episode they listened to, and then they give the comparisons. I'm like, you're not doing that. That's
That is
chat. I
AI
mean,
written.
there ain't no way. Yeah, every one of them I get is like all the same. I'm like, it's just, and I
Like,
want
hey,
guests.
Richard, I love the podcast 423 you just did.
Yeah,
I really
with
like the
Coney James,
insight.
I understand this and this. It's like when we do our thing. I'm like, come on, I mean, so I tell people now, Ricky, I'm just like, here, I don't need a long pitch. If you're past like four sentences, I'm not interested. Like you gotta nail me in like two. And then I'm like, I'm not like super, I want the right guests and I have amazing guests on, but like some of this stuff, I'm like, you're killing me on the reading thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, just get to what you're gonna do, man. Tell
People
me
don't
you're
know how to
amazing. Let
people
me hit
people don't
it.
know how to think anymore. People don't think
I,
anymore.
I'm telling,
People are like,
right,
chat, tell me what to say. Chat, tell me what to
right.
say.
So
Yeah.
and that's my thing. Like, and why I really like what you've done is you've tapped into these. However you got it, doesn't even matter. But again, will most retail, especially, I mean, they're not going to be creating these kind of relationships, right? They don't even know where to begin, right? So they're kind of out of the
Exactly.
loop.
Exactly.
However you're in there and your tech can find this stuff, dude. That's, I mean, and that's a big deal for these businesses too, right? I mean, they're getting
Think about
increased
it.
business, right?
If you can imagine, if I'm ordering $100,000 worth of product, I'm paying 25% tariff free right now. If I can find you the same product that's at 15% tariff free, I save you 10%.
It's
That's like
huge.
$10,000 I just saved
Yep.
you with,
Mm-hmm.
like, so and I think it's not just about tariffs. It's about risk management.
Mm-hmm.
Sourcing everything from one place is just a bad idea. It's
It's
just like,
That's bad business. If you, I always tell my clients, you don't want one customer who has more than 10% of your business because I've seen it. I've seen it with Walmart's and Home Depots.
yeah,
I had a
you have
cement
no
supplier.
negotiating power. You have no
It,
negotiating
oh, it's
power.
all good in the beginning. Now you're ramped up to get 50% of your production to them. And you know what they start doing? Squeezing the pennies.
Yep.
They
And
start
there's nothing you
lowering the
can do.
price and you're done. You're like, I have to maintain, I got to keep the wheels
Yeah.
moving because I
Yeah.
invested
Yeah.
all this money. So it's,
Yeah.
when people tell me they're looking to get this big deal with these giant retailers, I'm like, I wouldn't be super excited about that.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
diversify your clients. I mean, you want to have that. It's okay till it's not, right? It's that old thing, but you have an ability to tap into such a variety, and you can, and the, let me ask you this: are they still negotiating? Is that still, even with your technology, you find where they're at, what they're doing, and then the negotiation process can begin, right? Because then the connection
So
is made.
So good question. So we actually have an AI co-pilot that helps you reach out to these suppliers in bulk and helps you assist you. I wouldn't
Nice.
use the word negotiation. I would say
Right.
assist you in describing your requirements to the supplier and collecting their feedback. Negotiation is a very human relationship thing. I don't believe AI will actually be good at negotiation because there's so much nuance in negotiation that AI does not have the context for. And you probably would not trust AI to negotiate for you, right? Um,
Right.
so I think, yeah, so to answer your question, I think AI can help you organize your conversations with suppliers,
Right.
highlight certain risks, highlight certain, summarize things, but it's not going to make decisions, it's not going to negotiate. At least this is my opinion of where AI is now. But if you think about it, like most of the time is actually not spent on negotiating. Most of the time is spent on like
Right.
just like office work, like organizing emails, chasing the supplier for answers, finding the supplier's information. Like that, I think AI is going to have huge productivity boosts. And then I think if AI even replaces negotiation, then I think that's an issue. Like we don't need people anymore. We don't need
Right.
we don't
Right.
need you, right? Like the whole point is you're there to do the human part of the business, and the AI does all the automatable things that you don't have to do.
Yeah, as I think about what your software and you do, it's more it's I'd almost call it a prospector,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? You're like,
Looking
I'm
for
kind
prospects,
of
exactly,
I'm digging for gold.
exactly.
I'm looking for what's out there, right? I'm checking here, I'm checking here, so it's
It's like
kind of
Apollo.
cool. Yeah,
It's like we're looking. Well, we help you find leads, right? But
right,
we're not going to help you close them. Like you have to close them yourself.
right,
But
right,
we give you opportunity to find more leads so that you have a higher probability of finding whatever you need.
right. Yeah, I think especially like when you describe, the existence of these companies in these other countries and everything else, and how they actually operate. Yeah, you don't have a chance to connect with them.
Yeah, imagine finding a
Find them.
supplier in like India. Like what,
Yeah,
what would you, how would you even start to find them, right? Like I think this is why this industry traditionally is very relationship. Like, did you know how did they found the Indian supplier? Well, it's probably some guy you knew that knew someone else that worked at
yep.
this other company that used this Indian supplier. And then they're
Whose
like, oh,
grandmother's grandson did did the whole
this,
thing. It's like, yeah,
yes.
yeah. It's why it's. I mean, they don't even have stoplights there. I mean, so know what you're dealing with, right? So yeah, it's super fascinating. Like I think just that ability to tap into this is. um Are you like right now a category of one?
Category one. So what does that mean?
Yeah, that means that you're the only one who can do this.
To the extent that we do, yes. There are other companies that do supplier discovery, but in different ways. Like there are companies that have customs data, but they don't enrich it with other information. Like you literally only see shipping data. So
Right,
our whole thing is like we get data from like trade shows, we get data from crawling
right.
publicly available information, we get data from financial systems, so that we can create a full profile
Right.
of the supplier.
Yeah. So currently, you, just so you know, are a category of one
Yes,
because you can't be compared to those guys because they can't do a third of what you do.
yes,
So
correct.
you completely stand out now. That's a good place to be. Just saying.
For
Okay.
now. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure, I'm
You
sure,
want to
I'm
leverage,
sure there
yep.
are going to be, I'm sure there
But,
are going to be companies that come
yep.
come do the same
But,
thing later
but
on.
leverage it and you know what to do. Just like you
Yep,
did your
yep.
other company. Ramp that baby up and then boop, see ya. That's good. Give it the next guy. I love it. I mean, I think it's great, but I'm really fascinated. Like I said, for me as the podcast host, this is super relevant. Okay, not every guest is super relevant. I love them. I love them all. Okay, but I have an additional interest in what you're doing. It's really fascinating. But um, so where are you now? You're what, a year and a half in? Did you say?
Yep.
Okay. And I know we can depend on what I talk about. Like if I'm talking to someone in AI, we can't get past like 3-4 months. Okay, on predictions. Okay, even that's stretching it, right? It's more like 3 days. But I'm saying, like, what are you seeing down the road next two years, next 18 to 24 months?
So I think there's two parts. I think on a technology front, I do think that AI will start being able to do things beyond just in our sense, like lead generation, right? Like right now, our software, the main goal is to help you find suppliers that you otherwise can't find. I think as technology evolves in 2, 3 years, I think what AI will also do is give you optimization strategies. So, and understanding your specific business and your specific category. So it'll say like, okay, for this specific component, you should actually make it domestically. Because yes, even though China is cheaper, if you consider the cost of shipping and consider the time involved and consider all these automation capabilities that you can find domestically in the US, like perhaps it actually makes sense to actually make some of it in the US, maybe the super high end stuff. And then the really cheap stuff, yeah, outsource that to China or whatever. So actually having AI, not just executing on a search, but also going beyond that to look at the entire supply chain, look at your business, and do continuous improvement. I think that is the long-term strategy. It's like having like a co-pilot that is constantly monitoring all of your different, your costs, tariff rates, risks across the world, and saying, okay, you should move something here, you should move some here. This supplier is not reliable. They delayed like twice. We should find an
Right.
alternative one here.
Right.
I think this is where AI will eventually move to. Um, I'm skeptical in that I don't think AI will. I think AI can only provide strategies, suggestions. I don't think AI will ever, at least in the next 3 years at least, make decisions on behalf of the user. And there's two things. One is I
Right.
think even if AI is right 95% of the time, the 5% of the times that it's wrong, you would not trust it because if it's wrong, you have no one to blame. Whereas if a human does it, right, at least there's a stakeholder. So I know a lot of people say, oh, in the future, we don't need people anymore. The AI is just gonna do everything. I'm a little skeptical on that. I think AI is a tool. I think it's gonna 10x the productivity of someone that knows how to use it. But I think, the human component, especially in supply chain, like supply chain is a human business because you're basically negotiating with two different, like it's a relationship between two companies. There is
Yeah,
never a right or
and,
wrong.
and
It's a
then
negotiation.
the logistics of moving it and everything. Like there's a lot of components. I
Yes.
think you're right, but you know what I've done with AI is a little bit like what you're talking about's coming, but I've gotten so deep and done so much work in it in one area, right? So it begins to know me well, and I have the prompts and I have everything else where now is it's pulling different data to answer additional questions. It's really interesting what I've learned, as I work so deep in this stuff. And I totally see what you're saying, where it's going to be able to do that. It can do the I've created some really cool stuff, like from calculation aspects and everything else. Like I'm building like it's fascinating to me. Never I
It's crazy, right?
this brain was not never gonna that was
Could,
never
could,
gonna
could you
happen.
imagine? Could you imagine going to the pre-AI era, like not having AI? Like I can't
Yeah.
imagine doing work without AI now.
Well, it's I mean it's thousands of pages if you put it on pages. Thousands. Okay. I've thousands of things created and but what I'm able to do with it and what it the interesting about these learning models are, I mean, they actually learn, like
Hmm.
call me Captain Obvious, but I'm just, it's they do, and then it starts to compound when
Yep.
you stay with it and continue to use it. There's a compounding of
It
this,
learns about it, understands you.
yeah. But then
Yeah.
it pops this thing out like I would have never thought. I mean, it gave me. I'm like, I would never have thought of that. I mean,
Hmm.
totally out of like left field, and you're like, but then you drill down on that, and all of a sudden it's legit. So it's kind of wild, but I like you're saying, I tell people you got to be awake. You can't be on AI autopilot because it's going to give you wrong stuff. You're not going to really direct it. You're not going to pay
Yep.
attention. You're going to get
Yep.
super average stuff. I tell people, I go, this is my little saying, Ricky. Okay. So I'm like, well, AI is built by humans. So you're assured of two things: it lies and it's lazy. Okay. These are the two things you're going to know. It's going to give you the easiest answer possible, and it ain't going to work. Okay. And you're going to go, oh, that's a great answer because it's better than what you could come up with, you know, or it's going to just completely tell you. And I've been so, I'm like yelling at it. I'm like, dude, you're lying. I can pull up the other page where you said this. I'm like, I'm a lunatic, right? But you really have to be awake and working with it. It's a tool.
Yep.
You're not
Yep.
going to be working a skill saw and not looking,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
you got to know what you're doing. So I think it's a good point you made earlier about that. Like, and people, they're so like they're thinking too far ahead now. They think it can do a lot of things it can't,
Yep.
right? So
You
they're
know, you
kind of
know, I think the interesting with AI is like I almost think that a lot of people are like they go to two extremes. They either think AI can do everything, or they think AI is just useless. And
Right.
the reality is that it actually is in somewhere in the middle. Like I think a lot
Right.
of people are like too skeptical on AI and say, "Oh, AI always hallucinates. It's always wrong. It makes stuff up." I'm like, dude, you make things up. Like you're
Yeah.
humans lie all the time.
Yep.
You're you
Yep.
you forget things all the time too, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, some other people are like, "Oh my God, we should just let AI do negotiation for us. Why don't we just like fire half our workforce and just like have AI run it?" Like that's also really stupid. I
Yeah.
think I think yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think the best thing to say, it's a tool. Here's a
Hmm.
great thing I learned about it, and you probably already know this, but I had a guest on and we're talking about using it and this, and like it gave me and he goes, well, you have to understand, think about your customers. What if you didn't
Hmm.
take care of your customers? They wouldn't be your
Hmm.
customers, right? So you're going to do what they want. So
Yep.
does AI. It's going to
Yep.
do whatever makes you happy. Whatever it thinks is going to make
Yep.
you happy,
Even
that's
if
what it's going to.
lying.
And I'm telling you, and that was like my little light bulb. I started looking at it completely different. I have a whole different, and I'm like, he's right. So I've learned how to make it drill down. Again, it's setting prompts and how it's going to react and all this stuff, which is getting better and better. But if you just go in again blind and think it's going to do something, it's not Siri. It's like you're going to ask it to, we're talking, I'm doing complex things in this, very, very complex things. But you got to be awake.
Yep.
It's just not rolling without me,
Yep.
but I've watched it, Ricky, I've watched it evolve on the daily. I see things changing like daily. Like it didn't used to do this. This wasn't, so like it's kind of like your background app refresh. This sucker is working all the time. They're not like, hey, let's get together and make an update. This is 24/7, 365.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, the
what do you
hope
see?
is hopefully, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, good.
No, I do think the hope is that this technology will allow uh well like the 3 day or 2 day work week eventually. And it will just like change the way we think about work. Like we only do
Well,
things that we enjoy and not things that we have to do.
like that sounds really good, but here's a little thing. I've been around a while. Okay. All the increased technology, all it does is make us more efficient. So we work more. Okay. It's not really saving time. It's making room so you can work more. I've never seen anything like, oh, everyone's like doing less, right? They're not, yet I'm doing more. That's just observational, data.
I agree with you if we think about AI as a tool, which I do think AI will continue being a tool for the next 5 years. But I think my children and my children's children, I don't think AI will be a tool. I think AI will be a new life form. Like I think once we hit AGI and once AI can do everything that a human can do, I mean this is a little farther, but
Well,
I'm a believer in that eventually that like we'll just create a new form of intelligence.
yeah, I mean, this is the year of the robot, right? They're
Hmm.
rolling stuff out, hundreds of thousands
Hmm.
of these things. Like that's a leap. Okay, now it's
Hmm.
legit. I mean,
Yep.
I mean, Elon's talking about selling billions of them.
Yep.
Okay, there's not a lot of people thinking in those numbers. Okay, for that kind of complex stuff, but it's like, and that's what I mean. And you tie in this intelligence system with it. It's really fascinating. Yeah, I won't even guess 5, 10 years from now. I mean, I have kids and I get my first grandkid, and I'm like, okay, they're in a whole different place. I've
Yep.
last 20 years just watching all this stuff, and it's been wild. But you're right. But it's not unpredictable, right? But you know what? I always go to this. I say, well, what we really don't know is the unintended consequences.
Yep.
There's going to be good ones and bad ones. Okay.
Yep.
Because I've seen some really good ones and things I never thought would do what they do. And then
Hmm.
there's stuff like, ooh, you know, maybe we shouldn't do this, So I think but that's all part of, for me, just like building a business, that's all part of the learning curve, right? It's those setbacks and those failures that actually catapult you forward, unless
Yep.
you're a quitter. If you're a quitter, then you're going nowhere, right? But just I'll give you an example. Working in AI, doing like what I'm doing, it's very, very intense, and like you could be so frustrated to quit, like on the daily. because you're trying to do this stuff and it's learning with you. It's kind of wild. You're like going back and forth and then you're directing this thing and
Yep.
it's just totally fast. So I learned a thing too, like one of my guys goes, well, you should journal all the stuff you're doing with AI. Like as you're
Yep.
going around the hurdle, just say, put this in. So I've created this entire journal of the journey. It's really cool.
Hmm.
So all the hiccups we get, how we solve them, I'm like, put that in there, put that in there. So, so I'm mapping the whole thing as we go through. So it's pretty cool. Like sometimes you're not thinking you're just working, but man, that's going to be some stuff, and I'm all done and this stuff is really
Yeah.
going. It's like the book is ready. It's like it's just here now. I'll format that and we'll get that out to the world. It'll be cool. So yeah, pretty fascinating.
100%.
So where here's a question: Do you when you're launching this business a year and a half in now, did you begin? This is a question I ask a lot of people. Did you begin with an exit strategy?
No, I did. So in my previous company, I sold it, right? But
Right.
I think for this business, I want to see where it could take me. I do think we have an opportunity to do something big. And I don't want to sell it ideally in the next, unless I'm forced to. Like if the business does well, I want to build this into an enduring company. Uh, but you never know what's going to change in the future. But at least that's my current thought process. But I haven't thought about exit strategies yet.
I love it. I'm in the same place. I'm like
Yeah.
building. I just call it. I'm building legacy.
Hmm.
I'm changing an industry. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm gonna, and it's gonna go. I didn't do the exit strategy. And now I teach a lot of my clients like you put one in place. So it's a business filter and helps you keep doing the main thing and all this good stuff. But you can also move the goalpost,
Yep.
right? You're getting close. You're like, well, I don't have to sell. I'm
Yep.
having too much fun and making too much money. Let's keep going. It may be that, or again, I've been around enough where the economy sometimes dictates whether you're going to sell or not.
Yep.
Things happen depending on your business, how your stage, where you're at in this development and everything else. You could be forced into, you know, some form of selling or partnering or whatever that might be. But I like that you've got the intention to do this thing in a big way. You know what I mean? Like, you get it. Like I've created an ecosystem around mine. I've got the longevity. I'm out 20 years, I've put all this stuff in place to contain it. It's to me, it's part of the fun,
Yep.
because I get to think like way different, even for raising capital and stuff like that. I'm not the napkin guy.
Yep.
Okay. I built everything. And now we go, so I
Hmm.
have a model. And here's a little thing I tell people, Ricky. I go, well, this is how I built it. If I check out tomorrow, don't wake up. My kid can
It should
pick
still
this.
run.
He can pick it
Yeah.
up and run and go build this thing. I mean, everything. You know, so it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think a lot of people think that way.
Yeah.
Because I've learned over time, like I don't. This can't depend on me, right? I'm happy to be out front, like you're doing. I'm on podcasts. I'm doing this. I'm talking. I'm leading the movement. I'm getting it out there. That's all good, but that's for only a certain period of time.
Yep.
Eventually, it's this thing just it's got its own engines, and they go. So, is that kind of your philosophy on this too?
Yeah. I think, in a one's lifetime, I don't think there are that many great ideas that I can think of. Like, I think this is one of the things, like, I really do believe it's like a once in a lifetime kind of
Mm-hmm.
thesis, and I want to make sure that I see the end of it. Whether it's successful or not, I can't guarantee, but I need to see the end of it, and I do
Yeah,
believe in it.
that's right where I'm at. I've done a lot of really cool and great things. This is the greatest.
Hmm.
Like I'm like, man, I thought like this is really big.
Yep.
Like I'm because I tell them there's no way I could sit at a computer for 15 hours a day, 7 days a week for a year, if this was nothing. It's
Yep.
so big, but I'm energized every day, going through it, putting the time, and that's what I love. Where I'm at in life, my age, and whatever. Like to do this now is, I'm like, this is. I call it my Colonel Sanders moment.
Hmm.
Okay. He didn't hit it big till like 67 or something, you know? So
Hmm.
I'm like, this is it. Now this is my Colonel Sanders moment. I'm about to, I'm doing this thing. Again, I've done some great stuff, but when I look at this, I'm like, this is the way you do it.
Hmm.
Go out just on fire.
Yep.
Whatever go out is. I'm looking another 40 years at least. Okay. So I'm it's not like I'm looking to check out, but I'm like, I don't believe in retirement, but man, this thing I've created has legs. It's going to scale like crazy. It's going to be awesome. So
That's awesome.
I got a feeling I'll be tapping into your software and just
Well,
have that.
yes, please
You know what
do.
I mean?
Please do.
So it's pretty wild. But yeah, I just love the energy of it. Because I truly believe big thing, small thing, it's the same effort.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like people
So
just
might as
don't
well work on
have
something big. So work on something
right.
big. If
But
you're gonna
people,
wake up every day and be stressed about something, you might as well be stressed about something that's useful,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And that most people won't attempt. I like that position too. That's part ego. Okay. But like you wouldn't do this. You couldn't do this. You know what I mean? Like there's something good about that. I just get a little pleasure from that. You know what I mean? Let's do something really big and I don't need the fame. I just need to know I can do it. And to do it is that's where the joy comes from, man. Pulling,
Yep.
coming through this and everything else. It's pretty exciting when you look at it from that aspect, especially if you conceived the idea. If this was like your thing,
Yep.
like I want to do this, and then you just start doing it.
Yep.
I call it ignorance on fire. Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. I'm just on fire. I'm running. And then, because what I did, it just kept evolving. It went from like a book. It started with writing.
Yep.
I wrote a book and then I put this thing around 90 day, and now I have this full ecosystem building legacy. Like I didn't go in it for like that, but it became that because I saw the opportunity, right? You see the pieces start coming together.
Hmm.
Then all of a sudden, with your own mind, you can extrapolate out and go, this could be unbelievably huge. Is that kind of what was that kind of some of the stages you went through as well?
Yeah, like I mean, I just think that someone is gonna build this eventually.
Right.
And I'm gonna like I'm gonna regret it for the rest of my life if I see someone else do it. And
Right.
I'm like, wait, I thought about doing that. I just did it. Like imagine that like I think the worst thing to like if I'm on my deathbed and I don't want to have these kind of regrets where it's like these life-changing moments that I could have pursued.
Yep.
Um, but I didn't. Like if I fail, I think at least I know I tried my best. At least
Well,
you know that it's not a matter of like, you didn't try.
well, I'm just thinking, yeah, I came up with that idea, but it was like, yeah, okay, Ricky, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly. That's what everyone was saying.
who
Yeah,
cares? It's like people tell
ideas are
me,
not
well,
worth anything.
people go, well, I almost went in the Marines. I go, almost? Well, I did go in the Marines. Okay. Why would you even tell someone you almost went?
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
what's the point of that? Like nobody cares, like you didn't do anything. You thought about it. Oh, good for you. People think about a lot of stuff, but it's what do they say? The cemetery is the largest collection of dreams in the world.
Yeah,
Okay. they're they're all
that's a good
they're all in the,
analogy.
they're all in the graveyard. You know what I mean? But guys like you who take action and build this thing, and then regardless of the pits you're going to fall in, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it's just not
I mean, the way I
nothing's
think
easy.
about it is life is like a game. It's an experience, right? It's like part of what makes games fun is that there are challenges and you're not going to always win. So I think a boring game is a game that you always win and that you just choose the safest path. Like,
Yeah.
it's an adventure. So I think part of me is like, I actually enjoy the risk. I enjoy uncertainty because that's what makes life exciting. And like, if this problem was super easy to solve, like if I
Yeah.
were to just like, I don't know, what's the most easy thing? Like start a restaurant and just like sell Chinese food or something. Like, I
Right.
mean, I could do it, wake up every day and just do it, but it's not stimulating.
Right.
But I think doing something that no one has ever done, this in itself is stimulating, in my opinion, even though it
Yeah.
comes with its stress and all that. But you're gonna
Well,
be
I'm with you.
rested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You have to be able to lose and come back and play the next day.
exactly.
That's
And
entrepreneurship.
and
It's
this
just
is
what it is.
actually I read a book that talk about this. Is like most people look at winning and losing like it's the game has a clear clear ending, but you have to understand like most games are never ending games.
Right.
Like even if you win today, there's always a next goalpost. And if you look at life as like in that perspective, you treat it very differently. It's like, yes, you could be in the ditches, but you just got to keep
Well,
persevering.
I think Rick, they don't understand in the game. You change opponents.
Hmm.
Same game,
Hmm.
different opponents.
Hmm.
Right. So people are seeing the board different. Right.
Hmm.
You're running into different obstacles because there's people in your way or people who have a solution or have a problem. You got to keep saying that. So that's the infinite game.
Yep,
That's the
it's an
great
infinite game.
thing. That's the great thing about it because you're always going to problems are opportunities.
Yep,
Okay. And if you can think that every problem is an opportunity, that's a mindset shift that'll launch it to wherever you want to go.
exactly.
And most people they're defeated pretty easy. I
Yes.
got to tell you, I was having a discussion with, I don't remember who it was yesterday, but really good. This kid he's just the video game thing, right? I'll use that as kind of the analogy. And, he's got a wife, got kids, but he's got to come home and he's got to play for 4 hours because he's really good
Hmm.
at it and he just wants to win. And
Hmm.
that's the only place he can win. I'm like,
Hmm.
do you want me to talk to him? Because tell him, like, listen, young man, okay, like get up off the couch. We're going to go lose. I'm going to punch you in the face and things are going to happen. And I'll teach you how to punch other people in the face. And it's going to be great. And you'll find out what it's really like,
Yep.
to work hard and master something. Because a
Yep.
lot of people don't want to go through the mastery process.
Yep.
And in entrepreneurship, it's not taking a business from zero to, 500 million. It's everything in between. It's getting there. It's not that's the scorecard isn't the dollars.
Yep.
The scorecard is the journey going through it, overcoming all that stuff. That's just a representation of you made it, but you really
Exactly.
that's not what you made. It's not. I don't know how many. I've never been like the money driven. Like I need this
Yep.
dollar amount. What I need
Hmm.
is the achievement of creating the thing to create the money.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? It's not my reward.
It's
Is
it's the
not the dollar amount.
experience. It's the experience of working towards something that was difficult and you solve it. And it's like kind of going to the gym. It's like, yes, you get sore and it's like, but it's fulfilling. Like
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
when you,
it's the
it's very
greatest.
fulfilling,
Yeah, dude.
right?
I go.
You know that feeling.
Yeah, dude. I leave it all there on the floor. I mean, I'm holding the railing going down the stairs, leaving the gym. Okay, like I'm because there's nothing left. Like
But
every
it
day.
feels
Yeah,
but
it's
it feels good.
amazing. It's just I people go,
Exactly.
why do you train so hard every day? I go because it like gives me joy.
Yeah, it's like
Like
starting
have
a
you ever
business as well. That's a mentality thing though. A lot of
right?
people they treat working out or exercise as something that they have to do because for health. But
Right.
like but it's addicting actually. Like even if I didn't get health benefits, I would still want to do it because it's
Oh,
just
I'm
fun.
rocking the heavy bag, dude. I mean, I got skills, right? I've trained, I'm a boxer, black belt, I'm all those things, but you use them and you go
Hmm.
all out, and people are like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "It's just well, I got skills. I'm going to use them." I do battle rope workouts that no one even, and then I'm like, "Well, you got to go hard. I have to do
Hmm.
things that can take everything I can give it and still laugh at me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, you're not even going hard. I'll be on all the hard stuff like ropes or a rower and the heavy bags. And everyone's like, man, you really work. I go, I didn't really feel it today. The average person, you think I go, well, yeah, I guess my worst workouts are better than your best, but still, you know what I mean? I only judge myself. There's days you go hard, you don't go hard. In business is the same thing. There's days when you put it in neutral and glide downhill for the day. Come on, we all been there, right? There's just you just so I'm like maybe this is just a refueling day. I'm just kind of, or
Yep.
I'll have a half an hour like that.
Yep.
I just get up and I start walking around in like a circle. I'm just like, and nothing's happening upstairs. I'm in zombie mode. You know what I mean? But then you kind of come back out of that. You know what I mean? So it's just that's a fun part of the journey that you only get to really share with other entrepreneurs because other people
Yep.
just think you're a nut job.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So super cool, super cool. Well, let's wrap this up. Give us some final thoughts on again whether it's what you see coming, what you can do with your business from the entrepreneurial standpoint, where you see supply manufacturing going. How does all this evolve? I'm not giving you an hour's worth of stuff here. I'm just saying, like, pick a few things, wrap us up, and then we'll let people know they can get a hold of you and your system and everything else.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think supply chain is something that seems intimidating. I think using tools like AI, like especially what we do, is trying to make that whole process easier, especially for the regular small business, right? If you're not a big company with hundreds of people with experience and relationships, leveraging a tool like this could not only save you a lot of time, but actually save you, real dollars. And it's like if you don't use it, you're kind of like wasting, right? It's like this is that we're in the golden era of AI, and I think it's as we talked about, it's a tool. It's not gonna like replace your judgment, but it's gonna make you more productive and allow you to make better decisions. Um, and yeah, so our platform is free to use. You can go to our website, sourceready.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I post a bunch of content about supply chain, sourcing, AI, and also just general entrepreneurship stuff, starting a business, what it's like, biting glass and looking down the abyss. But yeah, that's the
Ricky,
gist.
that's awesome, Ricky, man. What a great conversation, man. I always love to meet innovators, man. Guys who take the idea, not just innovators, you're a builder too. You know what I mean? A lot of guys think of stuff or they even make it, but they can't move it out of the garage. You know what I mean? Like you got to get this stuff out there to the people, man, and make this happen. You're doing that. So kudos to you, man. That's super cool. I love it. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Man, yeah, keep us posted, man. I'm gonna be watching for sure. You and I are gonna talk when we get off of this because I got ideas. I got things. I
Awesome.
have needs. I have needs. Forget the ideas. I got needs. So again, thank you so much for being on today, and for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. Sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.